It's a terrible football show, all right?
I want whatever you guys are smoking right now.
Come on, Shane. OH.
Damn.
OH.
Oh, baby,
go.
yeah! Shane, I swear to God.
Welcome to a terrible football show.
That's my quarterback and my teammate, man.
Ruins my fucking holiday every damn year.
Alex,
What up?
you could thoroughly kiss my ass.
Why not let us decide the top four?
Yeah, let a terrible football show
Let a terrible
decide the top
football
four.
show.
Fuck you, Shane.
Roll Tide. Have a good one, guys.
Oh,
Have a good one. Yeah, he's got to go. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
I like that Baker Mayfield to myself, man. He was baking up there in the Browns, and it just turned into a big old shit pile. So
Get that right. I will fly you out and take you to a game in Dallas of your fucking choice.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he's successful at just giving his terrible opinions, so why can't I? It's a terrible football show after all. Welcome to Terrible Football Show episode, Hines Ward. Hopefully you're having a phenomenal day today. Whether you're watching it live alongside us, watching after the fact, or listening after the fact, we appreciate the hell out of you. Speaking of listening after the fact, so sorry for audio listeners last week. That was the latest I've ever been on ATFS. I posted that thing, I think, Saturday freaking night. And the worst part is I had it exported. I had the cover. The cover logo for the audio upload ready to go. I just forgot it. I guess since I got the file ready, I assumed I did it, and come to find out I did not do it. So my bad to audio listeners. Won't do that this week. No Jacob this week. Still no Shane, but we do have Ricky here. Ricky, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. I'm still feeling the drag from Thanksgiving, though.
Oh, man, me and you both. Today's my get back in the gym day. As soon as we're done with the show, it's back to the gym. You know, after having days of Thanksgiving, it's time to get back at it. You know what I mean? It's time to get back at it. So I feel you. Hey, got some drag going, but it's okay because Tuesday is here, and that means that we have a lot to talk about, because we do. We have a lot to talk about. You know, we have conference championships this weekend, which is going to be the big decider on the Final Four, which is, of course, today's topic of the show. You've got some big news out of your country there, so we're going to chat about that here in a bit. Let's see, Heisman predictions. We're going to kind of go over that because that's coming up. Some very, very interesting comments from the Carolina owner, David Tepper. Some comments where it's just like, who would say that out loud? You know what I mean? So, and then, of course, just kind of reacting to all the games this weekend and whatever else we want to chat about. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. But you know what else would be a great time is if you go down in the description below and you use our referral link for Rogue Energy and pick up some Rogue with our promo code Sparky3 to get 10% off. Shout out to whoever bought a couple orders of Rogue today. You guys are awesome. I don't know who that was, but I get the emails. Thank you so much. As well as go and use our referral link for Agent Ink and pick up a jersey, because we've got sick jerseys with a hand-drawn trash can on it, drawn by yours truly, that I drew in about 2 minutes on Photoshop. So you should totally pick up a jersey and rock that little trash can jersey. It's freaking sick. And you should also join the Discord, and you can come chat with us and be friends with us. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if we respond. Probably. I don't know. Depends on the day. Depends on the time. All right. Start turning down the music. We can start getting into the show. So I do want to point out that it's mighty convenient that our local Ohio State fan is not on the show today after a loss this weekend. Now, he legitimately has something going on. T's and P's to him. I just had to shout that out. But yeah, Ohio State, big L this weekend, rivalry weekend, of course. Lots of games went down. The Beavs really let me down on that one, unfortunately. I was really hoping for some good upsets this weekend, and we didn't get it. Almost got one with Auburn, Alabama. Alabama getting a TD in the last, few seconds of the game, and hilarious fashion. Shout out to that. But before we dive into any of that, just so we don't forget, because we have forgotten before, we're going to, once again, lead the show off with our Dicks of the Week. and then jump into the title topic, and then kind of jump into there. Of course, if you're new to the show, our Dicks of the Week is our most disappointing moment of the weekend, our most infuriating moment of the weekend, our most confusing, our most hype, and our most shocking. So if you're new to the show, make sure, and you're watching along, whether if it's after the fact or not, make sure to put in your Dicks of the Week. We want to know what your dick looks like. So kicking things off with D for the most disappointing for the most disappointing moment of the weekend. For me personally, I already touched on it. My Beavs really let me down. Didn't even keep it competitive, Didn't even keep it competitive. So that was unfortunate, especially since this is being said to be like one of the last civil wars, because it's not, I don't think it's going to be an annual thing anymore since Oregon's going to the Big Ten. It'll still happen, obviously, but it's not going to be an annual thing, I don't think. So that's a very unfortunate that they went out on a whimpering fart instead of, in a blaze of glory. The most infuriating moment of the weekend, and this is coming from someone who's just like a fan from afar. I love the players, I love the program, I love the social media team and what they're about, and I want to see the program succeed. Very infuriated that we have still yet to see a Brandon Staley firing in Los Angeles, because it's like, come on, man. We saw another firing this week in the NFL head coaching ranks of Frank Reich getting fired 11 games or 12 games into his tenure as Carolina head coach. Now he's going to sit on his butt and make $25,000 a minute or an hour or whatever it is for the next 3 years. Carolina's got $70 million tied up in Matt Rule and Frank Reich over the next 3 years, which is insane. But definitely upset for Chargers fans out there. I think it's beyond time for him to get canned. Most confusing, and we'll touch on this in a bit, the David Tepper comments that came out. I think it was just today I saw it coming out, and it's just like, again, why would you say that? Like, what in your right mind told you, yes, this is an acceptable thing to you vocalize? It's one of those thoughts you just need to keep to yourself, or reveal like 5 to 6 years from now, depending on how Bryce Young's career turns out. We'll touch on that here soon. Most hype moment of the weekend, non-sports, non-football related, WWE Survivor Series War Games. Okay, I had to shout it out. Randy Orton return. CM Punk return. R-Truth return. Shout out to that one. Shout out to Triple H and hyping that one up. But no, seriously, CM Punk, that's like, who would have thought that bridge could ever be mended? This is not a wrestling podcast, but I had to shout it out. And lastly, the most shocking, it has changed. The most shocking was actually the Bears, even though they won, because the offense still looked horrendous. And honestly, while it's cool to see a win, we really don't need to win right now. We really don't. I'm sorry. Like, our season's done. Yes, we're poised to get the number 1 pick from Carolina, but wouldn't it be cool to get another top 5 pick? But yeah, the offense looked fucking terrible. Justin looked good. Let me stress this. This is not on Justin. This is once again on play calling. Like, you look at Justin's completion chart, like 90% of his fucking completions were all screens. Can we stop running screens and let him sling it downfield? But my most shocking thing came out today, and that is Bobby Petrino returning to Arkansas as offensive coordinator. Who would have thought that would have happened? But those are my dicks of the week. So Ricky, let's grip it and rip it, my friend. What are yours?
So I have 2 disappointing for this past week. I am a football official, so I typically do not call out officiating, but I was very disappointed in the way Florida and Florida State. I was very disappointed in the way that was handled, especially when the C called or it looked like it was going to be targeting, and then when they discussed it, they're like, "No, that's going to be what was unnecessary roughness," and I'm like, "That was a clean tackle. What's unnecessary roughness about it?" So so we got to get these rules right. They got to get these rules fixed and corrected where they do not have to be put in that certain situation. I get it, protect the quarterback, but that was not unnecessary roughness. That was a 3rd and go play, by the way, and I'm wanting to say it was early second quarter when it was thrown, maybe late first quarter. I can't remember, but it was a 3rd and goal, which would have been a 4th and goal situation. Infuriating if let's see, infuriating. Let's see here. So I'm infuriating that they announced they were going to retain Sam Pittman, and then we just go out there and lay a big old flat goose egg out in the middle of nowhere. So
Yep.
that was very, very infuriating. Confusing week is your shocking. Basically, is I'm confused on the Bobby Petrino hire. don't get me wrong. You know, if you would have told me that Bobby Petrino would have returned to Arkansas as well as CM Punk going back to WWE, um, damn is all I can say.
Yeah.
What it's like, what is going on here? But at the same time, it's like, will he and Sam Pittman be able to coincide? Will they be able to work together? That's going to be remaining to see. Hyped up. Trevor Lawrence and C.J. Stroud going back and forth.
Oh
That's going
man.
to be the next football rivalry, gentlemen. That's going to be the next football rivalry, and it's going to be the next football rivalry for years to come. Could be another Tom Brady, Peyton Manning type situation, but man, you talk about one heck of a football game the other day between those two. And C.J. Stroud about pulled it out. I mean, he about pulled out the way he moves in the pocket, guys. Oh my gosh, this guy, he is going to be one heck of a football player down the road. And then shocking, CM Punk returning. I had it
Yeah.
written down to CM Punk returning to WWE.
You
And I
know,
know it's off football topic, but man, you got to go off topic when it's something like this.
hey, listen,
Him,
for the non-wrestling fans listening to this, wanting to only hear some football, I want you to understand how big of a moment that is. I want you to understand how big of a moment that is for us both to put a WWE related thing in our dicks of the week, because that's just how huge and monumental it was. Um, so another thing that I want to definitely throw out there for the disappointing, because I did have one disappointing thing that I forgot to already mention. One thing that kind of sucks, this is on more of the personal realm here, but Friday night, went to go check out, state semifinals, football playoff game between the Bryant Hornets and the Bentonville Tigers, I believe. Unfortunately, Bryant, it was a bad game. Very bad game for Bryant. I went in support of my girlfriend's little brother, who's a starter on the team. Very unfortunate to see his high school football playing career come to a close like that. It's on to college football for him now, wherever he decides to commit. But obviously, that was super unfortunate. He's had a great career starting all 3 years of high school, so that's pretty sweet there. He's got a couple state championship rings as it is, sure. But hey, he really wanted that senior year one, but now it's he's heading off to Orlando, I believe, to play in like I think it's the All America Classic. I believe he will be playing in Orlando, and then off to college wherever he's going to go. So big shout out to that. But no, I mean, it's definitely a lot of different things that took place this weekend for sure. That's going to be really exciting to kind of dive into. I've got some very interesting thoughts on a couple different points that me and Ricky both shouted out in our Dicks of the Week. And then also just the Heisman odds. I was looking at the Heisman odds, and I'm baffled by a couple of these. So we're going to be chatting about that for sure. FCS playoffs, round 1 is in the books, as well as we also did get news. I just remember this. Delaware is moving up from FCS play to FBS play, joining the, I swear to God, soon to be dead Conference USA. Shout out to Conference USA for doing anything and everything that they can to stay alive. So I'll give a massive kudos to that one for doing their best on that front. David Tepper comments, of course, the Bobby Petrino thing. It's going to be very fascinating there. Let's see. Before we actually touch into our title topic of the day, which, of course, is who will be the Final Four of the college football playoffs. Conference weekend ahead. I mean, it's going to be a tough one for sure. There's a lot of different things going on in that realm. That's going to be a huge deciding factors of how this weekend is going to potentially go. And now that Ricky's back, I can stop milking it. Let's go.
Boys, yeah, sorry, y'all. My boss called me, and it was kind of important.
That's fair.
So I just wanted to, definitely needed to get on the phone with him. He's on the road right now as well, so it's definitely definitely important that I call him back.
No, I get it. I milked it the best I could. I feel like I did all right. I was about to segue to some.
Also, I could also put that on my disappointing of the week with my boss being gone. See, my boss is in Nashville, Tennessee right now. Guess where Monday Night Raw was last night?
Oh man, was he there?
No, he's not. Listen, my boss is about as plain as it possibly gets when it comes to sport. He doesn't like sports. He doesn't watch TV that much, nothing like that. He's a duck hunter. I mean, when you talk to him, like you can tell, not only is he interesting, he's a great guy, but it's like this dude is hilarious. He's just a plain old typical Southern country boy.
Oh,
And
okay.
he's like leave me alone, get me out of that stuff. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I get you. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, so let's go ahead and since you're back, let's go ahead and actually jump into our title topic of the day. The Final Four of the college football playoffs this weekend is going to be huge. I believe the next rankings should be coming out here soon, right? And we can learn the new rankings in the near future. Let me hop
I
over.
think you're right.
Let me hop over to YouTube TV real quick. Let me see if I can get that pulled up and confirm. But basically, this weekend, big games that are going to really be huge deciding factors. Of course, we have the Pac-12, Oregon and Washington. This is a massive one. We have the SEC championship, Georgia and Alabama. That's a massive one. Honestly, and then from there you have the Big 12, which is the question is, can Oklahoma State play spoiler there? And as well as the Big 10, can Iowa play spoiler to Michigan? And even the same thing with ACC, can Louisville play spoiler to Florida State? I mean, this is a big weekend because, with how this weekend is set up, I mean, safely assuming that Ohio State's going to be still in the top, at least top 8 for sure, but even top 6. Man, literally the top 8 teams that were ranked last week are still all in play right now for the college football playoffs, which is wild to me. And it is starting soon. That's good. So let me turn that on. Let me go look at the previous rankings. So the previous rankings that we had, let's see, for college football playoff rankings. So the previous ones we had, of course, was Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Washington 4, Florida State 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8. They are all in play here. They are all in play to get to that top 4. And it's all because of how this weekend could potentially go, which is honestly wild. So Ricky, just first initial instinct, and we'll dive into it. First initial instinct, who do you think the Final Four would be? Do you think you think it's going to be a wild, unpredictable weekend, or do you think it's going to be pretty predictable?
So, I told you guys at the beginning of the season, and I think we can all agree it's been one confusing football season. But the one thing we haven't really had, but maybe one or two super shocking moments. And I'm really hoping that this weekend can. You're looking at a scenario right now where there's a possibility that Ohio State could still get in the top 4.
Yep.
There's a possibility Texas gets to the top 4.
Alabama getting the
There's a
top 4.
possibility there's a possibility Alabama gets to the top 4, and there's a possibility we may not see an SEC team in the top 4. The only reason that even though, like I said, that SEC not being the top 4, the only way I don't see that happening is if Florida State loses. If Florida State loses, there's going to be a guaranteed SEC spot in there. For Ohio State to get in, though, it's going to be a long shot, but it's going to be a long shot for them to get in. But for Ohio State to get in, I think Washington, Florida State, Washington, Florida State, and Texas all have to lose.
Yeah.
If Alabama beats Georgia, there's a possibility they're going to jump Ohio State just for the simple fact is that they're going to be a conference champion. And it stinks because I think for the most part, Ohio State's been a little bit more consistent as far as play wise goes, versus Alabama. But at the same time, what their whole deal is conference champion, and they're going to put that conference champion above. So who knows what's going to happen here? Obviously, I think I can safely say the winner of Washington and Oregon's in. I
That
think
was going to
that's
be
a
my
guarantee.
next question is even if Oregon wins, are they going to be automatically in?
I think so, yes, because you look at Washington, they haven't lost a game yet. Their
Yeah.
one loss would be Oregon if they were to lose. Oregon would have gotten that revenge game against Washington, and this is for the conference championship. This isn't just some regular season game. It's for the conference championship. And if they're going to put conference champions above anything, then yes, or Oregon would automatically get in. So I really believe, because this is my guess right here, I think it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State's going to be the top 4 right now. And I think on the outside looking in, you have an argument for Oregon going above Ohio State. You have an argument for Ohio State being above Oregon. There's two different arguments on that way. But if I had to really put money on who's going to be number 5, it would be Oregon, because they've just blown everybody away. Even since that loss to Washington, they've just blown everybody away. Ohio State really hasn't. They've really struggled to blow out teams. If that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. But I still think Ohio State will be in the top 6 somewhere, and then I think Texas and Alabama stay the same. I don't think you move. I don't think you move Texas, Alabama just yet.
Okay, all right. See, so the way that I'm kind of leaning right now on everything, and I'll do my official picks here in a bit for the conference championships, of course. Honestly, with the Pac-12, that's the most interesting because like they're both ranked so high. It's a win you're in situation is what it feels like, even though Oregon's at 6. I got to be honest with you. I think Oregon's going to catch that dub. I think I just have a feeling that Oregon's going to win this weekend. Washington has shown so much weakness since that Oregon game, and Oregon has shown nothing but strength. It's one of those things. Like I was talking to my boss about it earlier because, as I've said before, he's a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. And when I was talking to him about going into like playoffs and just general stuff, he's like, I don't give a fuck about top seeding. Number 1 seed bye week, home advantage. I don't give a fuck because I've seen this happen so many times with the Cowboys and the Braves where they get that and then they just fall flat because they weren't hot. I care about if the team is hot at the right time because that's when you see teams go on a run like the 07 Giants. They were hot when they needed to be, which is the end of the year. And that's how I feel towards Oregon right now is Oregon is hot at the right time. Washington has been very lukewarm, you know what I mean, or even cold. But Oregon's just firing on all cylinders. So in my opinion, I feel like Oregon's going to be able to jump into the top 5. Because honestly, after today, let's be honest, like we're going to get the rankings here in a little bit. Oregon may be like number 5 team in the nation. They were what, number 6? They may be 5. Like, but when the rankings come out, this is what it'll probably be. Georgia 1. Actually, no, hold on. I'd say. Oh, man, guys, I'll be honest. I might put Michigan 1 since they beat Ohio State, who was 2, and had Michigan's just undefeated doing their thing. Michigan could be 1 tonight. Georgia 2. Washington 3. And fuck Florida State stay at 4 just because they're undefeated, even though they it's not their fault. Unfortunate injury to Jordan Travis, but they did struggle. That will probably be the top 4. Oregon comes in at 5, and sitting at 6 will either be Ohio State or Texas. And I think Alabama will probably stay in the same area. I know they won. That's great, but that was a game they should have completely fucking dominated. I know it's a big rivalry game. Iron Bowls have been known to be fucking crazy. But let's be honest, that was a game they should have dominated. Let's be completely transparent on that. Regardless if it's the big rivalry that has this magical mist around it that makes it more of a game than it should be, they should have. So they'll probably stay at 8. So it's going to be interesting to see when the rankings come out, but that's my current prediction. And then coming into the weekend, as much as I would love to see Iowa play shocker to the world, and I do think it's possible because of how damn good that defense is, I think Michigan's run game is just too goddamn good. And I think Michigan will still win the Big Ten this weekend, which would leave them at the number 1 seed. As much as I would love to see Bama beat Georgia, I think Georgia will win, leaving them at the 2. I got Oregon winning, and I think that could bump Oregon up to 3 because I also have fuck Florida State. I have a feeling they're going to lose this weekend to Louisville. And in that 4th spot, that's where it gets interesting. If Texas wins, is Texas in, or is Ohio State going to get bumped in? That's the question that I have for you, Ricky. In the scenario I just laid out, so Oregon gets in, Michigan gets in, Georgia gets in. That 4th spot, Florida State loses. Fuck Florida State loses, okay? Does Texas get in if they win, or does Ohio State still jump Texas?
So if you go by what the whole format of the top 4 is, a conference champion would jump Ohio State. Here's the thing, though.
What was the scenario last year?
Has Ohio State played this year?
They've played a decent amount.
I can't remember who was. I can't remember who was in the top 4 last year.
I'll pull that up and I'll confirm. But I will also pull up Ohio State's schedule because the thing is that we've given so much credit to Ohio State.
I got it right. I got it right here. So including Michigan, Ohio State's only played 3 ranked teams the entire year. And the schedule that I have is going by what those teams were ranked at the time.
Yeah, same here.
And don't get me wrong, you got 2 top 10 wins,
Yep.
which which is very, very strong. Texas, on the other hand, they have played 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be their 5th top 25 game this upcoming weekend. And with the win, you're talking about 4 top 25 wins with 1 top 10 win, which technically would have been Alabama. And at the time, Alabama was ranked number 3.
Yeah.
Ohio State hasn't beat anybody that high. So I mean, I don't know which way the committee is going to lean toward. Do I think Ohio State is the better team? I do. But if you go by the scenario and you go by with what the scenario and what it calls for as far as the top 4 goes, you go with Texas because they're a conference champion, even with that 1 loss to Oklahoma, which was a neutral site game.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have lost that game. And as you see, Texas did struggle with for a few weeks after that loss. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you go by what it calls for a conference champion. Now, there was a time a few years ago, I think Ohio State ended up winning the Big Ten, but they had 2 losses. And they jumped Alabama, a 1-loss team, into the top 4. This is a totally different scenario because you have a 1-loss team and a 1-loss team. You have one team that had a top 5 win against Alabama, and even though Ohio State still has that 1 top 5 win, which I think was an 0-0, they didn't have a top 5 win. They had 2 top 10 wins.
Right.
I think Texas jumps them.
See, that's how I'm kind of leaning too. You know, when you look at the amount of ranked wins they've had, including one of them being top 10, I understand Ohio State has 2 top 10 wins, which could almost arguably outweigh what Texas has in some people's eyes. Okay. I think that's a strong scenario. I mean, I really do. I mean, we'll see what the rankings are here. Should be starting, I think, in the next 3 minutes. He'll start, and we can actually see what the current ones is. Because once we see the current ones, we can get a lot better idea about how this could play out. But man, I'm telling you, I think if it plays out with the scenario that I said, where fuck Florida State loses, Oregon wins, Michigan wins, Georgia wins, Texas wins, I think it's going to be Michigan, Georgia, Oregon, and Texas. I think that's going to be the top 4 that we're going to see in the playoffs.
Yeah, and to be quite frank with you, Oregon could be the favorite to win the top 4 if they get up in there.
I know, man. They're off. I mean, we their offense is like firing on a different level. But the one thing that I'm gonna be concerned about is that, let's say, Oregon, they would be the 3 seed going against Michigan. Let's say they beat Michigan, and then you have Georgia, and let's say Texas, Georgia wins. Man, I'm going to be concerned about a Georgia-Oregon game because we saw what they did at TCU last year with this high-power offense. I don't want to see another 65-7. So I don't know, man. I'm a little concerned. This is gonna be an interesting weekend.
But that's the thing, though. Georgia's offense is just now starting to come around a little bit. Their defense is still pretty good. I mean, they're just squeaking out these wins. They're not.
Yeah,
This Georgia
true.
team is not like last year's Georgia team.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, now other scenarios though. Alabama beats Georgia. Does Alabama getting in?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not leaving an SEC team out. Now, and here's something else though, Alex, is that we have to take into consideration. If Bama wins, Oregon wins, and Texas wins, you're talking about one flipperoo around when it comes to these top 4. And so, I mean, it just, like I said, I'm expecting it to be straightforward this weekend. I really am. At the same time, I mean, it just it wouldn't shock me one bit if we get some screwed up, messed up nonsense that happens this weekend, which I'm all for, by the way, just to let y'all know.
Oh, yeah.
To me, this is the college football version of March Madness.
Oh yeah, I agree, and I can't wait for it to get to more teams because of shit like this. But one team that we're just leaving out throughout this entire conversation right now is, what if fuck Florida State beats Louisville as planned? They don't have Jordan Travis, sure, but they've got a hell of a running back and Trey Benson, I think's his name. I know his last name is Benson. I don't know if it's Trey or Troy. Hell of a defense, but led by Jared Verse. I mean, like, what if Florida State catches that win? What if Texas wins as planned, Oregon wins as planned, Michigan wins as planned? Then how does it? Georgia wins as planned. Then how does it go from there? Like, I don't know. Like, fuck Florida State's gonna be a big wild card.
There is nothing anybody can defend when a player gets injured that you say, okay, well, if your player's injured and you're still undefeated, even though you've been up here in the top 4 the entire time, we're going to go ahead and leave you out of the top football. No, they'll be the 4th seed, but that's it.
Yeah.
They'll be the 4th seed. If they win, they're in. I mean, there's no scenario where anyone could look at me and say, these kids deserve to be screwed out of the college football playoff just because someone got injured. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree. Now they've got to take care of business.
I know that pains you to say that because you hate Florida State, but they're undefeated.
I'm a realist. I get it. We're quick to write them off right now, but I mean, the realistic thing is, fuck Florida State very well to take care of business this weekend. I mean, keep in mind, Louisville may be in the championship, but they did just come off a loss against Kentucky that they should have won. And they lost to Pitt earlier in the year. They shouldn't have lost that game. They beat 10th ranked Notre Dame at the time, and then they turn around and drop a fucking egg against Pitt.
And we could, and had they beaten Kentucky. Now the college football playoff ranking had the number 10 before, and they had them below a 2-loss Missouri team.
Yep.
But I mean, even then, it's like we could have been talking about them, which I don't think they would have got in regardless because their schedule was so weak. But
yeah,
they
technically would have had a scenario. You know what I mean? Everything would have had to go perfectly right for them, but they technically would have had one. Now they don't. Now it's just down to the top 8, which is honestly wild to me that we're at this position where the top 8 teams are all still in contention of where they can make it in. Obviously the toughest road ahead for all these teams is Ohio State, though, because they don't have a game this weekend. Their faith is going to be in everyone else, like it was last year when they sneaked in. So that's going to be the interesting thing.
And there's one more scenario, Alex, that we haven't mentioned yet. There's still a possibility we could have 4 undefeated teams going into the playoff for the first time ever.
That's very true. That's very true. I mean, we could just have it across the board. Just Michigan, Georgia, Washington, and fuck Florida State, all 4 undefeated into the playoffs, the 4 best teams in the country. That is very, very much a possibility. This is probably the most intriguing college football playoff that we've had because of just how many different scenarios could potentially play out. You know what I mean? College football playoff top 25 show has officially started. I've got it pulled up so we can get some little updates here.
I still petition that we should have the terrible football show decide the top 4.
Ah, yeah, so do I. It's in our opening. It's in our opening. Well, let's go ahead and do it then. Let's go. Yeah, I still got an opening. Yeah, when you were sick and you were just like, well, why not let us take the top 4? Well, while we're waiting, why not? Well, let's do the top 4. Ricky, what is the top 4 right now in college football? Rank them.
So I think you have an argument for Michigan being number 1. I really believe you have a good argument for Michigan being number 1.
I agree. Michigan's my current 1.
So yeah, I'll stick with Michigan 1.
Georgia 2 for me.
Georgia 2. Washington 3. Florida State 4.
Yep.
And then outside looking in,
Oregon at 5.
You could flip either, or Oregon at 5, Ohio State 6. I think you could flip that if you wanted to. If you wanted to, you could flip that. But I think Oregon has a stronger case being ahead of Ohio State than what Ohio State does being ahead of Oregon. And then, of course, you've got Texas and Bama on the outside looking in as well at 7 and 8.
All right, we're flying through the top 25. We just did the first 5. I didn't really get a chance to look at them because I was listening. I did see them, but I already forgot what they are. But one thing I do want to shout out here at number 20 is Oregon State still in at 20. Jonathan Smith, unfortunately, leaving Oregon State to go to Michigan State, which honestly, at this point, fuck him. Fuck him at this point. His comments were just like, really? You're an asshole. Go fuck yourself. But I do want to give a special shout out to the Beavs while, they in my opinion, did not meet expectations for this year. As far as I know, they stayed ranked all year long, even though they've lost 4 times. So big shout out to that. That's really cool to see. I don't think
I think you're right.
they've never dropped out of the top 25. Louisville is now down to 14 though, so I guess shout out to that. But no, did you see Jonathan Smith's comments in his first presser? And whenever he was getting interviewed, he asked how long did he know that this was going to happen? He openly says yeah, I've known for a long time that I was going to leave, is essentially what he said. And I saw it was an Oregon State offensive lineman quote tweeted that and quoted him, in the quote tweet, where it's just I've known for a long time, and just an annoyed face. And it's I can't blame him. That feels like betrayal. You know what I mean? That he's known for a long time he was going to leave Oregon State. That feels like a betrayal in my opinion. If you're a player.
Alex, can you blame him? But can you blame the coach?
I don't.
Think about it.
I mean, come
You're
on.
one-
It's one of those things. Keep the comments to
Well,
yourself, or lie a little bit. Say
I
that
agree.
I just recently made the decision. It was tough. You don't have to say, oh yeah, I've known for a long time. Kiss my ass, you son of a bitch. I can't wait for you to lose all the big games next year.
I agree to disagree for the simple fact is you have to understand though, and the players have to understand this. This is a business.
Yeah.
And number one, Oregon State is one of 2 teams left in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is done. Recruiting is done. There is, I guarantee you, the recruiting season for this year with Oregon State was probably one of the worst that they've experienced in a very long time, just because they don't know the future of the Pac-12. Like I said, they may have a schedule with the Mountain West Conference, but which schedule would you rather have? A schedule with the Mountain Conference, or a chance to be in one of the top 2 conferences in college football, which obviously I still think the SEC is the best conference in college football right now, but you also have to give props to the Big Ten, because the Big Ten is just as tough top to bottom right now. And so, yes, which one would you? I mean, you think about it. You got one job where there's no telling what's going to happen, and then you have a stabilized job like Michigan State, which I know Michigan State sucks now, but there was a time Michigan State was the one upsetting people in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And winning a couple Big Ten conference championships. So I don't blame him for leaving.
I don't, but it's still just choose your words better. That's all I gotta say. Also, Alabama.
I would agree.
Alabama stays at 8. Texas stays at 7.
Which they should. Texas and Alabama. Texas did beat them head to head, regardless of how they've gone since then. That's the way it should stay.
So now the top 6. Ohio State remains in the top 6, which Jacob is cheering for that one. So now I personally think you'll see Michigan at 1, Georgia 2, Washington 3, Florida State 4, Oregon 5, and Ohio State at 6. That's how I see it playing out. Which, with that being the case, that's going to make this weekend very interesting for Ohio State. You know what I mean? Oregon catches the dub. Let's say Alabama managed to catch a dub. Florida State loses. Ohio State is going to have a path in.
Possibly so.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a very interesting weekend for college football. But let's not forget about some of our other conference championships while I'm waiting for the talks to be revealed. Shout out to the Sun Belt, of course. We have Troy and Appalachian State. Looking forward to that one. The American, we have Tulane and SMU. The Mountain West, which is a really weird way of how they determined it. Apparently, it's because of how the games lined out and how the conference record lined out. They had to do some special thing on Sunday to decide between Boise State, UNLV, and San Jose State because of conference record and who beat who and everything. Apparently, it was perfectly tied. So it came down to Boise State, UNLV is what it came down to. Of course, we got the MAC with 2 very good MAC teams of Miami, Ohio, and Toledo. That could potentially be the game of the weekend. We'll see. And then Conference USA, we have New Mexico State and undefeated Liberty. So shout out to that. Give me a good weekend for some football. I'm looking forward to pretty much every single one of these matches. Ohio State does, in fact, come in at number 6. Oregon does, in fact, come in at number 5, to no surprise. I think the biggest surprise right now is going to be where Michigan and Georgia falls. 3 and 4 is going to be Florida State and Washington. I feel like that's pretty straightforward. But how is Georgia and Michigan going to fall in this? That's going to be, I think, the big question right now.
Oregon is a 9.5-point favorite to start for the weekend.
I saw that. They are heavy favorites right now. That's not the
big
only
ti-
thing
big time.
involving the Oregon Ducks. It's a heavy favorites. You know, I was going to touch on this in full detail later, but currently Bo Nix is the leader for the Heisman in odds right now.
Which he should be. Which he should be. And I like Michael Penix. I like him a lot. But if you look at the stats, Bo Nix, it's not even close. It's Bo Nix.
Bo Nix has had a hell of a season. Hell of a season.
I mean, I know,
Fuck Florida State at
yeah, and
4.
I
Okay, yep. This is projected.
watch him put Georgia at 3. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, so Bo Nix, of course, 315 for 401 attempts, over 3,900 yards. Probably going to finish with after this weekend alone, he'll be at like probably 4,100. 37 TDs to only 2 interceptions, only sacked 5 times for 189.8 passer rating. And then on top of that, he's got 159 yards on the ground with 6 TDs on the ground.
78.6 completion percentage, passing complete percentage. I mean, and I like Michael Penix. He's a very athletic guy. He might be a good professional quarterback. We'll see. I know Jaden Daniels was one of the ones that was coming up. I think the one thing that helps Jaden Daniels' case, he averages 11.7 yards per pass, which is insane. And he has 40 touchdowns, but he does have 4 picks with the 208 passer rating. But I think the overall mark, I think it's Bo Nix. Bo Nix just looks to me, it's so much better with Bo Nix. Bo Nix has a better record overall this year than what Jaden Daniels does. And I personally think Bo Nix seals the deal if they beat Washington this weekend.
Yeah, this is the big game for him. You know what I mean? Like if they've sealed the deal, he won the Heisman. The Heisman is his. You know, I saw Jalen Milroe's comments and all. My guy, again, that a great win, electric. But you should have beat the fuck out of him. You know, you're not going up against the newly, third ranked Washington Huskies. You know what I mean? Like, let's calm down. Now, if Jalen beats Georgia and puts on a hell of a show, then I think his odds go up a little bit. But I like Bo Nix the best. Georgia did come in at 1. Michigan came in at 2. Washington 3. Fuck Florida State 4. So that is our current top 4. It's going to be a very interesting weekend, man. 3 and 5 going at it. 1 and 8 going at it. 7 and whatever Oklahoma State was. I missed it. I mean, it's going to be a hellacious weekend. Man, it's tough to see how things are going to play out, man. Like I said, I think Oregon's going to win it. Texas wins. Georgia wins. Michigan wins, and I haven't decided on fuck Florida State and Louisville. I have not decided, but man, if Louisville played Buster there, Ohio State gets getting into the dance, man.
Depending on scenarios, you might be right, but I think if Louisville and Texas both win, I think Texas gets in over Ohio State.
Yeah. Also
I
looking
hate to say that, but it could happen.
No, and it really could. I'd love to see Texas get in, even though I fucking hate them. I just think it'd be different, Like let's spice things up a little bit. Let's have some fun. You know what I mean? Also, special shout out.
I think I had Texas and Florida State in the top 4 at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah, I think you did. Also, looking at season passing stats, big shout out to the 8th highest passing yards in the season this year. My guy Braden Schrager down in Hawaii, baby. Let's go.
That is awesome.
The top 7 passers, and this is yards: Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, Cameron Ward, Dylan Gabriel, Caleb Williams, Drake May. A lot of big names I just said, and then Braden Schrager right behind him, baby.
Braden Schrager also leads in pass attempts this year, 525 pass attempts this season.
Dude, he's been slinging it, man. He's been slinging it. I mean, like I've been saying all year, a lot of interceptions. I mean, he is 3rd in the nation for picks. Tied for 1st is Braden Flower Nicholas from Colorado State, and looks like Davis Bryan. And then the 2nd place would be Haynes King with 15, and Braden at 14. We got. I think if Braden can get that down going into next year, I think Hawaii is going to have a damn good quarterback next year. He can sling it. This was that year to go out and sling it and learn what you can and can't do. You know what I mean?
What year is he in?
I think he's a junior or a sophomore. Let me look. He is a junior. Okay, so yeah, he's got one more year, baby. One more year. Next year is gonna be a big year for him. Gonna be a big year for
Conference
him.
champions.
Yeah. I mean, hey, his stats continue to improve. Year to year. He's got a lot more yards than he did last year. A lot better completion percentage, more TDs, better passer rating. Also, more interceptions that he threw last year. He threw 10 last year, but 14 this year. But he also threw 125 more passes this year.
Yeah, Hawaii's got to establish a run game.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're good in the receiving game, man. They got a good freshman. They got another receiver that made all Mountain West Conference second team. Shout out to that. But yeah, they got to get the run game going. But anyway, back to the main stuff, the conference championships. No, it's gonna be an interesting weekend. There is so much on the line across the board from the top four, and of course just the Heisman. Because we'll touch on the Heisman odds now. So the latest Heisman odds that I'm pulling from FanDuel Sportsbook, Bo Nix is currently leading with a -180. Jane Daniels with a +140. Then it really goes down from here, and there's one very shocking name that's a lot lower than I thought it would be. From there, we have Michael Penix Jr. with plus 1,600. Jalen Milroe with plus 15,000. Carson Beck for plus 15,000. And then here's what shocks me. And I'm not saying this shocks me because he's undeserving. He is. He's one of the best fucking running backs to play this year. But it shocks me that he has better odds to win the Heisman than Marvin Harrison Jr. And that is Oklahoma State's running back, Ollie Gordon II, is plus 20,000. Above J.J. McCarthy, which that's fair. Above Marvin Harrison Jr., above Blake Corum, and above Malik Neighbors. Like the fact Marvin Harrison Jr. is plus 25,000 to win the Heisman. I thought he'd be a lot higher than that.
Ollie Gordon II has rushed for 1,580 yards
Damn
this year,
good year.
which leads the entire nation. That's even over Missouri's running back Cody Schrader.
Yeah.
See here, he also has 20 touchdowns.
Yep.
So that right there. That right there is a very solid year for a running back. When you have
that
20
no one's
touchdowns
talking
in a season,
about.
And but here's the thing, though. I think Marvin Harrison doesn't have very many touchdowns this year, though. If I look at Marvin Harrison, okay, he has 14. Marvin Harrison has 14. He has 67 receptions for 1,211 yards. Let's see here. Yeah. And then, 67 receptions, 1,211 yards. It's an average of 18.1 per catch, which is actually, I think it's second or third. Let me check this real quick. No, it's not even. Well, that doesn't count because he plays for Army. But either way, who cares about that part? Anyways,
Wow.
So I mean, I would understand. Like, don't get me wrong. I really think if I was a Heisman voter, Marvin Harrison. Yeah, as far as like player wise goes, yes, Marvin Harrison's the better player. Ollie Gordon's had the better year.
Yeah.
As far as statistics wise goes. But I still think if Bo Nix wins it out this weekend, I think he solidifies it. I don't think there's not a scenario where anyone can look at me and say this person deserves over Bo Nix. I don't care how many years he's been in college football.
You don't have to throw that shade like that.
Not shade. I'm just saying he's like a 10-year senior. I mean.
No, there is one guy. He's a tight end for Miami who may play his 9th year of college.
That's insane. Why would you want to be at college for 9 years?
Because he knows he's never going to go to the pros.
Still, did you see that one? I'm trying to remember. It's a Division III school. It's a private school. This guy had a letter of intent to declare for the NFL draft. He goes, I never played it down, but I will hype up the locker room or some kind of nonsense. He was some Division III player. I don't think he's played it down this year, but he's like I will hype up the locker room and be a good character for the locker room. So I'm declared for the NFL draft. I'm like,
right.
Okay, more power to you.
Yep. The tight end is Cam McCormick. He is applying for his 9th year of college. because he has missed 3 years of action due to an ankle injury. He's now 25. He started at Oregon and he transferred. He started at Oregon enrolling in January 2016, and he spent 7 years in Oregon, and he transferred to Miami. But yeah, I mean, he's been hospitalized for some stuff. He suffered an Achilles tendon near the end of 2021. Of course, there's the COVID year, which gives him a free year. But no, just his career's just been a path of unfortunate circumstances that has now pushed him to where he can potentially have a 9th year in college. He's going for his master's, so shout out to that.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I mean, if he's got a definitive way of going back and getting his master's, I have no problem with that. But
Yeah.
I mean, dang, that is like I get it, especially if you want one full year to be healthy
Yep.
and just try to make that full year to be. But there comes a time when it's like, okay, dude, it's time to give up. It's time to quit. It's okay. You made it to a major D1 level. You played for two great universities.
Yep.
It's time to hang it up and let it go.
Yep. Speaking of Miami, did you see that TVD entered the transfer portal?
I did not.
Yep, TVD is entering the transfer portal for Miami, so we'll see where he goes.
I'm telling you, man, if Mario Cristobal, he's got to do something next year. I mean, he's just gonna have to.
Yeah, one of the defensive ends for Miami is also entering the transfer portal as well.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'd say we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'll be curious to see who the starter is going to be. If I had to guess, I guess it'll be Emory Williams. Emory Williams. He started a little bit before he got hurt after TVD got benched, but I don't know. I guess we'll see who's going to be the starter for Miami next year. It'll probably just be him, honestly. He is a freshman, so you get him for a few years if it works out and all. But anyway, still in the college realm, though. I mean, again, we've already touched on it multiple times, but man. Who would have thought Bobby Petrino coming back to Arkansas as the offense coordinator? We already shocked that Sam Pittman's being retained. Honestly, here's what I can tell you because you mentioned this earlier, but I didn't want to segue in my thoughts on it because I wanted to get through the opening, of course. Let's get through the opening in a fluid manner, not sidetrack too much from the title topic. But that it doesn't really make sense. The only thing that I can think of, and I'm kind of curious if you're in the same line of thinking or if it just really doesn't make sense. Do you think this is potentially a safety net for Hunter Yurachek, where if Sam Pittman lays another fucking egg and fires him, he has a potential another head coach candidate that he can immediately just fall back on? Do you think that could potentially be the big grandmaster play here? Because that was my first thought with this whole thing, since in my opinion, Pittman's on the hot seat.
I don't know.
Because let's be honest, let's say Pittman gets fired mid-year. Bobby Petrino is taking over his head coaching duties as interim head coach. He is. Who else would you hire?
Possibly so.
Not hire.
Right.
Who else would you put into that spot?
So.
Like, would you guys would you guys do the NFL play and make your special teams coordinator that, or would you take a certified former head coach? Like, that's my mindset.
Look at what Texas A&M did.
Yeah.
But that's also a different situation.
Yeah.
We have not seen any kind of success since Bobby Petrino. Like I wouldn't say any kind of success, but Bobby Petrino had back-to-back 10-win years at Arkansas. If I go back in history right now, I don't think that's happened since like the 70s, maybe 80s. I'd have to go back and look and see as far as Arkansas Razorback history goes. Hunter Yurachek knows how much we love Bobby Petrino. Like he knows how much the state backs Bobby Petrino up as far as a football coach goes and everything like that. There's even some, including myself, who believe he shouldn't have been fired to begin with, that he should have been given a suspension, a lengthy suspension, but not gotten fired. When he got fired, our football program went to crap, and it went to crap quickly, and it wasn't even close. And so
smile.
Smile. But anyway, this could be a safety net, because here's the thing. Arkansas sports right now, Alex, and I know that I don't know how much. I know you and Jacob and all them don't keep up with us as much as far as Arkansas sports goes, which is fine. Like Arkansas sports in general, we've had more top 25 success in the majority of our sports under Hunter Yurachek than we have Frank Burles and any other athletic director that we've ever had. And he also knows that the moneymaker is football. So he has to get football right. Because if he doesn't get football right, regardless of what he's done with the rest of the sports, they're gonna look to get rid of him. Just because football has to get right. You've got to get the moneymaker right because that is, like I said, that's the most profitable sport that we have. So yes, it could be a safety net, which would make sense to a lot of folks. But since Petrino was fired from Arkansas, he's only had 2 head coaching gigs that I know of. He did go back to Louisville, which didn't play out very well, but I
Yeah.
know the recruiting was a lot different whenever he went back to Louisville. And then he went to Missouri State,
Yep.
and yeah, he almost beat us when he was at Missouri State.
Yeah.
So yeah, the answer, the long answer is I don't know because Petrino has not really seen the success that he saw when he was at Arkansas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You think this is going to cause just like a big distraction for Arkansas because fans are going to be more behind their offensive coordinator than the actual head coach?
And it could be because here's the thing, Alex. Let's say Arkansas comes in next year. Let's say our offense starts doing spectacular wonders compared to what they did. Who's going to get the credit for that?
Right.
It's not going to be Sam Pittman.
Nope.
Sam Pittman. Now, here's the thing. Sam Pittman is an offensive line guy. If the offensive line showed any kind of ability this year, we'd be talking about a different football team.
Mm-hmm.
But we fired an offensive coordinator and we gained Bobby Petrino back, which don't get me wrong, I'm still confused. But like I said, I don't know how this plays out. To me, this matchup is like Houston Nutt and Gus Malzahn. But Gus Malzahn was forced in there.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. I can see that. No, it's a fascinating scenario, man, because like I can't help but to feel like you guys, this fan base, you and Shane's fan base, are just gonna rally behind Bobby P and just turn on Pittman real quick. I'm not saying you and Shane specifically, just the fan base. That's why it's gonna be fascinating, man. I don't know. Like, I really think this is a safety net. I personally think if Sam Pittman lays a giant egg this year, and he gets fired midseason, I'm going to go ahead and call it now. Bob Petrino will be the next head coach of Arkansas.
I will say this much because, like I said, the 2 most shocking things from today and Saturday was CM Puck returning and Bobby Petrino coming back to Arkansas.
Yep.
That the 2 most shocking things. And one of the biggest philosophy sayings was, of course, there's young gears in here, so I'm not going to say it all. Itchy double hockey sticks froze over this weekend. And that was the theme for this week was CM Punk coming back. One of the things that Triple H said during his press conference is that 10 years ago, they were both different people. It's the same way. It's the same way now. 10 years ago, we were under Jeff Long. We were not under Hunter Yurachek. Petrino is a different person. You have different people calling shots at Arkansas, and there was a special. The way I read the article before the announcement came today, because there were talks that what if Bobby Petrino does come back? There's a policy at U of A that if you get fired with cause, that you have to go through this scenario with the school president, board of directors, all this other kind of stuff just to even be brought back. So the fact that they're backing him up just shows how much he's grown over in that overtime. I'm sure he's still with the same wife that he cheated on whenever he was. I'm not sure she's too hyped up about it, but this tells you something right here that time does eventually heal all wounds. And this is one of those situations. He's been gone for over a decade. We're in a situation where we desperately need a good offensive coordinator. Who else are you going to get right now better than him?
Right.
But at the same time, I think him and Sam Pittman are a better fit together. and what Houston Nutt and Gus Malzahn were whenever they came back. Gus Malzahn was also forced in, but it doesn't make sense to me. It just does not make much sense to me.
Yeah. For Arkansas fans, it's either a state of confusion or a state of happiness or both.
I'm in both.
Yeah. Now, I will say, even though I don't give a single shred of a fuck about the Arkansas Razorbacks, I cannot help but to be immensely curious about how next season will go. You guys are officially on my. All right, I want to see how this shit plays out. This is so. You're gonna be one of my most fascinating storylines next year.
So me and Forrest have already talked about we're playing week 2 next year. We're playing at Oklahoma State and Stillwater, and that's not far drive from us. We're planning a trip to Stillwater next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Oh my gosh! So we looked at the schedule for next year. We don't play Alabama next year. I don't think we play Bama next year.
Hey, one less L.
Yep, that's one less L.
Yep. Hey, one thing I wanted to shout out, still in the college ranks here, I thought was pretty cool. I saw the news. It was posted 23 minutes ago. Wisconsin running back Braylon Allen has declared for the 2024 NFL Draft. He had nearly 3,500 rushing yards in 3 seasons, and he's still just 19 years old. He's going to have some hella good draft value.
19 years old?
Yeah, he's still just 19.
Golly, the government doesn't even trust him with beer yet. What does he think he's going to go do in the NFL?
January is his birthday, so he's going to be 20 by the time he gets drafted. But still, that's young, man. It's a young running back, with a lot of experience. You know what I mean?
Right. So if he wins the Super Bowl next year, he'll be 21. So yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, no, that's a young back with a lot of experience. Shout out to that. Also, shout out to my most infuriating moment of the week. The reports are that the Chargers will fire head coach Brandon Staley unless an absolute miracle happens down the stretch of this season. The Chargers have a talented roster but continue to disappoint in the win-loss column. Big facts. In my opinion,
when we get to our picks,
what now?
what I was saying is I've got a hot take whenever we get to my picks today.
Okay. In my opinion, the Chargers have easily, in my mind, top 5 most talented roster on paper in the NFL right now. Top 5 for me. Like, in no order, my top 5 most talented rosters is the Chargers, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Dolphins. Jesus Christ. And this is all on paper. And then that 5th spot could be a toss-up between the Cowboys, I guess, the Lions, and probably just those two. One of those two would take the 5th spot.
It's fair.
Oh, Chiefs. I can't believe I forgot the Chiefs. They'd be up there in contention too, even though they've had some struggles.
They should be up. Yeah, weren't they down like 14-0 to Vegas?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, hey, speaking of down, did you see the press conference with Sean Payton where they asked him if he knew what scoregami was?
No.
Oh my god! Oh my god, dude! So funny. They asked him, like, do you know what scoregami? He's like, no, I don't know what that is. What's scoregami? And they're just like, scoregami is when a score happens that's never happened in the NFL. And they reminded him, because he beat the Browns 29-12 this weekend. It's just like, yeah, 29-12, that's never happened. He's like, 29-12 has never happened in the NFL. It's like, no, that's scoregami. And then the reporter stone cold says, yeah, 70-2 was also a score. 70-20 was also a scoregami. And Sean Payton just kind of chuckles a little bit. He's just like, I think I like the other score better. At least he's got a sense of humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He does.
Yeah, 70-20 was a scoregami too. Jesus Christ. That's funny as shit.
And listen, can we please, listen, ESPN, whoever does this crap, can we please stop talking about Aaron Rodgers coming back this year? It's not happening. He's not coming back this year.
I don't know, man. Like, even though the Jets are at this point out of playoff contention, I actually think he will. I really do. I think it's just going to be one of those things where he's going to come back to show the fan base and show the team that, hey, even though we suck, like, hey, I'm all in. You know what I mean? I want to show that I'm all in. I personally think he will actually come back, but it's going to be like if the Jets are completely eliminated, I personally think he will only play the last game of the season. If the Jets even have a chance to make the playoffs, the slightest bit, he will come back as soon as he can. If it's like 3 games left before the season's done, he'll come back. But if they're completely eliminated, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he played the last game of the season just to prove to everyone that, hey, I'm all in here. I really think that's a possibility.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but
Also,
we'll see.
so let me hit the David Tepper comments just because it's again this is one of those cases like why would you say that out loud? So of course Frank Wright was fired by the Panthers. We already touched on that. 11 games in, whatever. So one report from the Carolina Panthers beat writer is that after the game, Tepper was shown coming out of the locker room and just yelling "fuck" as loud as he can. This guy's got a very clear, level head, let me tell you. But anyway, so he confirms, and there's a video for this, that they were supposed to trade to the number 2 pick and take CJ Stroud because they believed Houston would have taken Bryce Young at number 1. Tepper says everyone in the building wanted Young, even though that's against the initial reports that we followed all offseason that Tepper's the one who wanted Young and Frank Wright and everyone else wanted Stroud. And then he says, quote, "We are totally confident in that pick." If you're totally confident in this pick, you wouldn't even been saying this. You would not even been saying what your original plan was. You would not. You know what I mean? Like if it's 5 years from now and Bryce Young ends up being a massive bust, sure. Then you would say it. You know what I mean? We've seen that before. We've seen John Fox say that he wanted to take Patrick Mahomes, and Ryan Pace threw Mitch Trubisky on him the day of the draft, which honestly, while that's a case of like, okay, is that really true, or are you just trying to make yourself look better? I actually think that one's true because as far as I know, Patrick Mahomes has basically confirmed that he really thought Chicago was going to take him. So that's fucking cool. Anyway, but this is something that you would say 5 years from now if Bryce didn't work out, not 11 games into Bryce's young career. You know what I mean? Because now Bryce hears this and Bryce is like, oh, great. They didn't fucking really want me. You know what I mean? Clearly they did. They traded up to number 1, but like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like not everyone in the building wanted Bryce Young.
No, and I thought for the longest time that they would take CJ Stroud.
Me too.
I thought CJ Stroud would have been a better fit the Panthers than what Bryce Young was. For a while I thought Carolina might have taken Will Levis over everybody. Just because their whole, their what they're looking for in a quarterback, everything like that. Which, he's starting for Tennessee right now. I mean, regardless of the situation, he is starting for Tennessee right now.
Yep.
And I'll just be honest. I'll be honest with you. I'm just looking at their depth chart right now. They don't have what I would consider many bust, if you want to put it that way. I mean, yeah, they still have Adam Thielen. They've got the Mingo, Jay Chark. They still have a few players who are really, really good defensively. They're depleted defensively just about.
Yeah.
But I'll just be honest. I don't care who the coach was this year. This team was not winning very many games this year, regardless.
Yeah, no, I agree. No matter what, they just weren't going to win a lot of games, and that's being apparent. But also, like Bryce Young just hasn't played well. Also, he just hasn't. I mean, top to bottom. I don't know if it was strictly coaching or what. I mean, we've seen him literally line up under a freaking guard, and Miles Sanders had to push him back under center. Like there's a video of that. Like that happened in a game. So I don't know, man, but I know with this firing, I mean, it cleaned house on the offensive side of the ball. Deuce Staley, who was with the Detroit, he took the job in Carolina. He got fired. Josh McCown got fired. So I mean, just across the board, they cleaned house. Chris Tabor, the special teams coordinator, is going to be interim head coach, even though they got Jim Caldwell there. So man, it's gonna be interesting how the rest of this season will play. If Bryce shows flashes, then Carolina fans have got to be feeling in a good spot. But at the same time, I mean, hey, DJ Moore has already now passed 1,000 yards for the Bears for this season, 5th in the league. Shout out to that. You know, Darnell Wright looks like a freaking beast of an offensive lineman. A lot of penalties. He's a rookie. A lot of penalties, though. He's 3rd in the league in penalties. The top 2 are both Chiefs players. I think the number 1 was Jawan Taylor, and number 2 was a defensive Chiefs player. I don't remember who. And then Darnell Wright was number 3, but he's a rookie. I'll cut him some slack, but he's played lights out. So, I mean, this is looking like a pretty good win for Chicago and a pretty big L for Carolina.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. If you look at if you look at Bryce Young's QBR rating, it's worse than Mac Jones.
Oof.
It's barely better than Zach Wilson. He's ranked. Of course, I know that there's different starters that's come in, but if you take the 30 starters, the 30 main starters that have played this season for all these teams, Bryce Young is 29th in QBR rating.
And who was below him?
Zach Wilson.
Okay, that's what I thought. Man, that's rough.
The only one that was below Bryce Young is Zach Wilson.
Wow. Unfortunate, man. And then on top of that, to add insult to injury, the Bears are poisoning themselves to get Marvin Harrison Jr. with the number 1 overall pick if they want, or just get a quarterback. I don't know. I don't know what I want for the Bears. I personally think Caleb Williams and Drake May are both going to fucking suck up in Chicago. So in my opinion, keep Fields and get him some weapons.
Yeah, I don't think Chicago gets if they get a quarterback, it'll be a late round. I don't think there's a quarterback out of this draft that's going to really change things right off the bat. Usually, when you draft in the first round, you're looking for someone that's going to change you right now.
Right.
And that's not any quarterback this year. Maybe Bo Nix. Go get Bo Nix.
Yeah, I mean he'll be a top 10 pick. You know, one team that I've seen linked to him a little bit in some drafts is the New York Giants right after they signed Danny Dimes, and I'm just like, that would be an interesting one right there. No, honestly, when it came to the Bears, man, like we get a new head coach, we get a guy like Jim Harbaugh in there for maybe as a possibility, or Ben Johnson or something like that. And then just get a really good offensive coordinator who's not just going to throw freaking screens 24/7. In my mind, man, let's keep Justin, get Marvin Harrison number 1, you know, offensive lineman, or Brock Bowers at like number 4 pick or something like that. Shane just popped in the chat. Shane, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. Shane says number 1 pick Marvin Harrison, number 4 pick Brock Bowers. Hey, I'm here for it. You know, like I said, it's in my mind coming into this draft, like, because I'm not sold on Caleb. I'm especially not sold on Drake. It's Marvin Harrison or nothing. Like, you get Marvin Harrison fucking Jr., even if you're at the number 1 pick. Let him be the next wide receiver to get drafted number 1, you know, since Keyshawn Johnson back in like 97 or 96, whenever it was. You know, that's my Marvin Harrison Jr. no matter what. That's my stake on it, at least. And just keep running with Fields then. We'll see how Fields does.
I mean, it couldn't be much worse.
I mean, if you just get the right play caller, you know, I think it'll be fun. But anyway, speaking of can't get much worse, can it get much worse for the Buffalo Bills? That's one big question that's coming out of this past weekend of football.
They're not making the playoffs. It's no. That's the thing, and that's the thing. You know, I thought they played well. Their offense played well enough to win. Their defense is just falling off.
Yeah. Like, let me go look at their schedule because they have a fucking gauntlet ahead.
That's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm doing right now.
Their next game is at the Chiefs, then hosting the Cowboys, at the Chargers, hosting the Patriots, at the Dolphins. Like, oh, buddy. You know, besides the Patriots,
they could have. I'm about to say they could have 3 more losses on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, that is a gauntlet, man. It's tough to imagine Buffalo making to the playoffs right now. I'm telling you, Ricky. I'm telling you, it's the Madden curse, my guy. It's the Madden curse.
Fine, it's the Madden curse.
Thank you. I think it's the Madden curse, and I think it was just like this was writing on the wall. You know, Tyler's been in the boat that their window has passed. And that's kind of where Stephon Diggs has kind of felt too, from my understanding, is that he feels like their window is passing. And I can see that. You know, I can definitely see that.
Let's see here. Let's see. They have several defensive players out from injury, and a lot of them are on the IR right now. So that's tough. It's very, very tough.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of injuries they're dealing with. You know, this team has just had an unfortunate run this year. And I've even seen some people question should Sean McDermott be fired, and I'm just like, no. I mean, he's helped make this team competitive almost every year, and the one year he's not, you're gonna say fire him? It's just like, who the fuck do you think you are? Do you think you're the Ohio State Buckeyes? Do you think you're, like what sort of expectations do you have right now where one bad season and you're gonna fire a guy? You know what I mean? You're not winning championships. Like, you've never won a Super Bowl. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. Like, that's a wild take in my opinion.
Sure, go fire Sean McDermott, and the Chargers will hire him 5 minutes later.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. Also, I was gonna ask your thoughts on this because I just refreshed my Twitter feed and this is the first thing that popped up. Because honestly, I think it's fucking stupid, regardless of whatever the rule would be or what he should have done. This is a fucking stupid nitpick rule, in my opinion, or a flag. Did you see the penalty thrown on Kyler Gordon this weekend?
Which one?
The most notable one involving his helmet.
I don't remember. Let's see here. That was, what did he do? Did he take his helmet off before he got off the field?
Yes, because his helmet broke because he got punched. I'm literally watching the video. He got punched on the sideline. And his helmet broke. Like, no shit, his helmet broke.
Yeah, that's a rule from Pee Wee all the way up to the NFL. Every program has that rule. Not take your helmet off the field for nothing. Now, if it comes off, that's one thing. And I understand that it broke. And I think the officials should have given him the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, I've seen officials look at players before and say, "Hey, don't take your helmet off. I got a flag if you do it." Yeah, it's a nitpick rule, but
see,
top to bottom, Pee Wee to NFL, that is a rule.
See, I totally agree. A rule's a rule, and I'm here for it. But there are totally fucking cases where we can ignore a rule for one dumb thing, and this is the one dumb thing. He gets his helmet punched by a Vikings player. It is on video. A ref had to break up the fight. His helmet is broken, like the face mask is broken off. So he takes off the helmet, and he's trying to show the ref, no, it broke. And then the penalty changed to taunting. Kyler Gordon got hit with taunting.
Okay, now I see what you're saying now. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, that should have been waved off.
Like, come on, man. Like, I understand it's a rule to not take your helmet off, but literally the face mask is like broken off. Like, it is a broken off face mask. So he takes it off running to the Bears sideline, and he gets penalized for that. And then when he was holding it up to show that it was broken, this is all on video. I'm watching it right now. Then it gets changed to taunting. Like,
yeah, that should have been waved off.
Like, come on, man. I get it's a rule, but like, with the exact series of circumstances, give a guy a fucking break. That's horse shit. Like, I'm sorry. Rules or not, that's horse shit.
I haven't seen that one. I'll just be honest, I didn't even know it happened.
Yeah, when you get a chance, like, here, I can link this exact one because this exact video is a good shot here of everything. And I'll put it in the work server, and you can just view it when you get some free time. Don't worry about it right now. But okay. Yeah, that video shows it, and it's just, that's a horse shit call. I mean, I understand the rule, so I'm not arguing with just the general, like, okay, don't need to do it. But like, come on, man, like, do it the exact series of events. That is a horse shit call. Like, come on, people. Whatever. I don't know. There were some other missed calls I saw this weekend when I was watching the end of the Eagles Bills. There was a very blatantly clear holding call that did not happen. That was wild to me. Darius Slay on Stephon Diggs, like Stephon's jersey was literally being pulled down by Darius, and that did not get a call. I thought that was wild, especially with the point of the game that it was in. That would have seriously helped Buffalo. You know what I mean? But the shot for it was so unbelievably clear of that was a holding call. You know what I mean? The picture that I saw of where his collar was like down to here, it's just like, come on, you got to call that. Pass interference or holding, one of the two.
And the Eagles, they have not got penalized much at all this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't. They usually don't get penalized. I think there was one game, I think the penalties were like 10-1 in favor of the Eagles only having one. I'm like, Really? Goodness gracious. Let me look at this. Let me look at this week. Uh, let's see here.
Mhm.
Let's see here. 11-4 in penalties this week.
How many?
Buffalo had 11. 11-4. Buffalo had 11. The Eagles only had 4.
Right. Man, that's wild.
That is wild. What's even more wild is the Buffalo Bills had 40 minutes of possession. The Eagles only had 26, and they still won. And what's blown away is the Buffalo Bills had over 500 yards worth of offense, and they still lost.
It was a great game, but man, what a unfortunate game to lose. You know what I mean? Like that's just painful.
Up 17-7 at the half, too.
Yeah. Let's see. I didn't have anything else on the docket. Ricky, you got anything you want to shout out? Or are you ready to get some picks, my friend?
There is one thing that I failed to shout out that needs to be in my hyped up moment of the week.
Okay.
Tucker Kraft got a touchdown.
I want everyone to know he was so excited in the Discord.
Hey, I said so. We're watching the game at my in-laws' house, and my wife's uncle was there, and I said, yeah, I said, hey, he said Tucker Kraft's on the field, pass it to him, he's gonna get a touchdown. And what they do? They ran a tight end play. He caught it and ran it for like 5 yards, touchdown.
I bet you felt on top of the world.
The best 5 yards. It's probably like 10 or 15, but it's the best 5 yards you'll ever see in the history of football.
Oh, that's funny, dude. That's funny.
It's like
No.
it's like when Gardner Minshew throws interceptions or something like that. It's the best interception you'll ever see. I don't care who it is.
Hey, it's gonna look good.
Regardless, that receiver should have caught the ball.
Yeah, it was not Gardner's fault. Trust me. Hey, speaking of that game though, let's just touch on this real quick. Hey, man, Jordan Love, man, he was playing
He's getting
lights
better.
out. It's scary how eerily similar Aaron Rodgers' first season of starting and Jordan Love's first season of starting is. They're so eerily similar, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, I don't think they're going to win the division next year, but
No,
they're going to be dangerous next year.
I agree.
We need to see what Minnesota's going to do with Kirk Cousins, if they're going to bring him back or they're going to trade him. But there's a possibility they're going to make some noise next year. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next year with those teams.
I agree.
That division especially. I'm hyped up with Detroit still, even though Detroit did lose that game. But it was what, the third loss of the year so far.
Yeah.
I mean, you're bound. It's professional football. You're bound to have terrible games, especially on Thanksgiving Day. But not my Cowboys. Not my Cowboys.
Yeah, our moment in the opening where it's like, they ruin my fucking holiday every damn year from Jacob. His holiday was not ruined this year until Saturday, that is.
It wasn't. It wasn't ruined last year, but the year before it was.
Yeah. then his holiday got ruined on Saturday.
It's because he's on a terrible football show, and yes, it did get ruined on Saturday. And yeah, of course, I know Jacob's not here to talk about that because I know he'd probably go on a rant about that or whatever the whole 9 yards was. So there was a point in that game where it looked like Ohio State had intercepted the ball in the end zone, but the officials did get it right. It was a touchdown.
Yeah. Also, I'm glad I made an audible on the title, topic, and thumbnail, because the original thumbnail that I had going was going to feature Ryan Day and something else. And it was going to be the question is, should Ryan Day be on the hot seat or get fired? And I was expecting that for Jacob, to have Jacob go on a defense of or a rant that he should get fired or whatever the case was. And I just randomly had the idea, it'd be cool if I just did the top 8 teams and made that the thumbnail. I'll do that. So I'm glad I made it audible last night at the last second.
I'll let him rant next week.
Yeah, he'll have his moment next week. One last thing that I do want to shout out before we get to picks, and this is just a way early prediction. Hey, next year, possible Heisman candidate. I'm just going to throw it out there. Watch out for, I have no idea how to pronounce his last name, but Noah, the quarterback for Arizona, the freshman. Hey, watch out for him next year, baby. He's had a hell of a year as a freshman. Arizona is like 15th in the nation when they should have been dog shit. Hey, watch out for Noah for a dark horse Heisman candidate next year, baby. Noah and them Arizona Wildcats are going to be dangerous. I can't wait to see how it plays out. They're going to be in the Big 12 too. Shout out to that, I guess.
Could win the Big 12 next year too.
Very well could. All right, let's get to picks then, my friend. I did notice that Run Your Pool added the college football, the FCS playoffs now. They didn't have last week's, so I don't know how we did. I did not check, scores based on who we picked. So I'll just have to have Jacob follow up on that next week. But we do have all the games this week, so that's cool. I guess that's neat. I wish they would have done it last week, but whatever. So anyway, we have the Conference USA Championship. We have New Mexico State and Liberty. Give me the undefeated Liberty Flames in this one.
I agree. Liberty should win.
I don't know if we really should have a game of the week. I mean, I guess we can. The FBS game of the week. We have Oregon and Washington. Give me Oregon.
I will also take Oregon. I think Oregon's a much better football team right now, considering the fact that they learned their lesson from the loss, and they've been blowing teams out. Washington struggled.
Next up, the MAC Championship, Miami of Ohio and Toledo. Give me Toledo. That was my preseason pick, and I'm sticking with it.
I want to say Toledo was mine as well. No, it might have been Ohio that was mine. I can't remember. But yeah,
I think Toledo has gone exactly as I predicted. Let me go look at their one loss, because I think the one loss that I had for them was like an early season loss because it was like a Power 5 like ranked school or something. Let me go look.
I know I got Arkansas State exactly correct. I had them going 6-6, losing to Marshall this week, and I got them exactly correct. And I know I got Missouri exactly correct. Nothing much to brag about because I said Vanderbilt was going to win 8 games this year.
Fair. No, I did get Toledo exactly correct. Is the only loss that I projected for them was week 1 at Illinois. That was it. Other than that, I had it Toledo running the table, and that's exactly what they've done. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna stick with the Rockets. We're going straight to the moon, boys. Next up, FCS playoffs. Next matchup, we have the Richmond Spiders and the Albany Greyhounds, I think's their name. I know it's the logo, but I think they're just called the Greyhounds. I don't know if they're called something specific, but I think it's Greyhounds.
You might be right. I'm not sure either.
Did
Albany beat Hawaii?
Fuck off. I don't remember. I think Hawaii
I'm just
won.
asking.
I think Hawaii won. Let me go look. Let me go confirm for you.
I think you're right.
I think Hawaii won that game, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Yes, Hawaii beat UA Albany.
Okay, I was just making sure. Let's see here. Albany is at home.
Give me Richmond.
I do like Richmond though. I do like Richmond, but I think Albany is gonna pull it off. Give me Albany.
Youngstown State and Villanova. Give me Villanova.
Youngstown State, I think, is ranked. I don't think Villanova is.
Yeah, they are.
Is Villanova ranked?
Yeah.
Let me look here. I'm going to have to look at this. Let me look it up and see. Villanova is ranked number 9. Yeah, they've had a pretty good year too so far. Yeah, I'll take Villanova.
Yeah, let me go confirm what we're looking at for the FCS rankings. I thought Villanova is number 9 right now.
Yep, you're right.
Let's see. Next up, we have Oklahoma State and Texas for the Big 12. Give me Texas.
I will also take Texas.
Okay. Chattanooga and Furman. Give me Furman. I've rocked with them a lot this year. They're currently 6th in the nation, 9-2.
This is a rematch from a few weeks back. They went Chattanooga. They beat Chattanooga. Rematches usually don't go very well, but I'm gonna go with Chattanooga.
Okay. Mercer and South Dakota State. Give me South Dakota State.
South Dakota State.
Sacramento State and South Dakota. If this would have been Sacramento State of last year, the year before, I kind of may have leaned them, but give me South Dakota. They are 3rd ranked in the FCS, and they have been on fire.
South Dakota's ranked 3rd in the FCS?
Yep. Wild, right?
Really? I mean, I know they're in a tough conference and everything like that, but
South
goodness.
Dakota State's obviously
wouldn't
number
even-
1. Montana's 2. South Dakota's 3. Idaho is 4, and Florida A&M is 5. Florida A&M should be. I think they're probably playing in the Celebration Bowl.
They are.
Okay.
I-
No, they're in the playoffs.
and
I
I've
see
been
them right
riding
there. Never mind.
I've been riding Sacramento State the entire year, but South Dakota is the better team, so I'll go with South Dakota.
Boise State and UNLV for the Mountain West. Give me Boise State.
Ooh, San Jose State beat Boise State last week, right?
I think so, yeah. Yes. Because that's what caused all the
What a
issue of
weird-
who should go to the championship.
Give me UNLV.
North Dakota State and Montana State. This is tough. I mean, they're both right there, 7th and 8th ranked in the nation. I'm kind of leaning Montana State at home. Give me Montana State.
I've picked against North Dakota State at least 3 separate times this year, and I've been wrong every single time. Give me North Dakota State.
Appalachian State and Troy for the Sun Belt Championship. Give me Troy.
James Madison should be playing in this championship game.
Facts.
None of these teams. I don't care that Appalachian State beat them, but Appalachian State's going to beat Troy.
Georgia and Alabama for the SEC Championship. Give me Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's a much better Georgia's much better defensively.
SMU and Tulane for the American Championship. Give me Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane should win this one.
Perry View and Florida A&M, the Rattlers. Give me Florida A&M.
I will also take Florida A&M.
Louisville and fuck Florida State for the ACC Championship. Give me fuck Florida State.
Yeah, Louisville's on a downhill right now.
All right. Michigan and Iowa for the Big Ten Championship. Give me Michigan.
Should be interesting to watch because, like I said, both like you said though, Iowa's defense. Gosh, you just imagine if they had an offense like Ohio State
Yep.
or Michigan or something like that. I wish Arkansas had a defense like Iowa.
Then next up, FCS playoffs, Delaware at Montana. Unfortunately, Delaware's final game of FCS play will be on a whimpering fart. Give me Montana.
Yeah, Montana should win this game, and it is sad because Delaware's had a good season.
Delaware's been a consistently good FCS program just to go up to the FBS and be a shit show. So kudos to you guys on that one. Southern Illinois at Idaho. Give me Idaho in the QB Dome.
Yeah, Idaho should win this pretty easy.
All right, top over to NFL. NFL Thursday Night Football. We got the Seattle Seahawks at the Dallas Cowboys. Give me the Dallas Cowboys.
You said it like that. Why not? Yeah, give me the Cowboys.
The Miami Dolphins at the Washington Commanders. Give me the Dolphins.
Unfortunately,
Colts at the Titans. Give me the Colts.
I will take Tennessee.
The shit show that is the Carolina Panthers at Tampa Bay. Give me Tampa Bay.
Yep, Tampa Bay easily.
Atlanta at the Jets. Give me Atlanta.
I'm going to regrettably take the Jets, but I'll take the Jets.
Arizona at Pittsburgh. Give me Pittsburgh.
I will also take Pittsburgh.
Detroit at New Orleans. Give me Detroit.
I will also take Detroit.
The Chargers at New England. I really don't know who to pick here.
I'm picking the Chargers because New England can't score. You see that crap score that they had with the
Yeah.
shot?
Give me the Chargers. Denver, who's getting hot at the right time, versus Houston.
Denver is my hot take. Denver is going to win out and make the playoff.
Ooh, that's spicy. That's spicy. I like that. That's pretty sweet. You know what? Give me Denver in this game.
This could be a loss because I love C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
But Denver's on a roll right now. Their defense is playing great. Russell Wilson is playing phenomenal football right now. I think Denver's going to stick with this hot streak, and I think have Houston and you have Detroit. They're the losable games. The rest of them are going to be winnable games. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, win out 11-5, or in this case 12-5. Make the playoffs. It's very, very likely that this could happen.
Yeah, I mean, look at their schedule. Get to see them beating the Texans this weekend. I can see them beating the Chargers next weekend. The Lions, I think will be an L. The Patriots, I can see them winning, and then the Chargers again. The Raiders. I mean, you're right. Broncos might be making the playoffs this year. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Next up, San Fran and Philly. Give me Philly.
And watch them have to replay. Watch them do a rematch against Miami and beat Miami. That'd be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah.
And then Sean Payton go up and be like, 70 to what?
Yeah, just literally start the press conference like 70 to what now?
I'm going to be rooting hard for San Francisco because Philly keeps winning and they're really screwing up my universe right now.
Screwing up your universe. Hey, man, you and my boss both. The rant he went on about how much he hates Philly. How much he hates Philly and how much he hates Nick Sirianni. He just got the most punchable face and just this and that. Because what brought it up is he asked me, he's like, did you see that video of that Eagles kid flipping off that Bills kid, that Bills fan? Did you see that, Ricky?
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, my boss just like, man, if that was my kid, there'd be a video of me beating my kid's ass in public. Oh, my God. Anyway, Cleveland at the Rams. Give me the Rams.
This is hard. 'Cause let's see here. The Rams. Let's see here. I don't know. The Rams are struggling, though. But so is Cleveland. But Cleveland's got an amazing defense. Give me Cleveland.
And then Sunday Night Football. Apparently, I didn't realize this. This is Patrick Mahomes' first trip to Lambeau.
How cold is it going to be in Lambeau?
Great question. Look, this is that time of year. We are getting cold, boys.
Shoot. If it's negative 50 degrees, I might pick Green Bay. Have you seen that Jeff Dunham? Of course, I know it's been years ago, but that Jeff Dunham with Walter, and Walter's like, Lambeau Field, build a freaking roof.
Right. No.
Like how many? It's like how many? It's like how good is the weather during football season? Let's see here. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Oh Lord, it's gonna be cold. Let's see. Sunday. This is Sunday Night Football, right?
Yep. I'll be honest with
Sunday
you.
night-
I already have my pick.
It'll be in the. You're picking Green Bay, aren't you?
I'm gonna go with Green Bay. I think Green Bay is gonna shock the world on Sunday night.
I'm gonna take Kansas City, but it would shock me if they did.
And then Monday night we have Cincinnati and the Duval Jaguars. Give me the Jags, baby.
Yeah, unfortunately, with Joe Burrow being out, this is not going to be that great of a matchup. Get y'all off of the Jags.
All right, and that is all of our picks. Knocked everything out beautifully. It's going to be a good weekend of football. Very good weekend, man. I'm so pumped for college this weekend. I'm going to probably still be working through a lot of it, but you best believe I will be listening to the games, and I can't fucking wait. It's going to be a good weekend, man, for some football. Anyway, Rick, you got any last thoughts that you want to shout out to everyone?
Oh, let's just ready for a good weekend of football.
Yeah, me too. Also, I'm sad that I didn't shout this out earlier in the show, but of course, hopefully everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I forgot to even just shout out that simple phrase. So yeah, hopefully you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hopefully you had a good Black Friday shopping season and all that good shit. If you did any shopping, I didn't. It was kind of shitty this year. It's kind of shitty this year. Not a lot of deals sparked my girlfriend though. Ooh, buddy, she went a little overboard. Let me tell you, she got some good shit for her. She got it. I didn't have to pay for it, thankfully. No way I would have paid for it. How much she spent. God damn. Anyway. So that's going to wrap up this week. I'll be back next week. Hopefully Jacob can be with us next week so we can talk about the Ohio State-Michigan game. Make sure to check out some Rogue Energy with the referral link down below. Use promo code SPARKY to get 10% off. Go over to Agent Inc. Use the referral link to pick up a jersey because they're really cool and they have a trash can that I drew. Join the Discord. Come chat with us. I think that's it. Until next time, guys. Have a good one. Bye.